223 CV, Lexington.
ESPN Sports Radio 1392.5, WLXG Lexington, and LM Communications Broadcasting Station. The only no-filter sports show in Kentucky. It's the Alan Cutler Show with award-winning TV sportscaster Alan Cutler.
All the broadcast television people that I've encountered, you are among the absolute elite.
I know you're in Turkey. You told me something that wasn't true either, so I'm just going to say that. I'll just leave it right there.
Alan, I hate to say you're right, but when you're right, you're right. And this is something you're right about.
You are a truth sayer. I've said that about you your whole life. You hold no punches back.
Hello, Mark. Mr. Pope, 1996.
Oh, my gosh.
What?
Hey, let's give it up right here. This is my guy. Yes. I'm so happy to see you.
Hey, gratitude is a skill, guys. But if you practice, it will give you a joyful life regardless of your circumstances.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Alan Cutler, honored and pleased to be with you. Thank you so much for joining us. We will take the Mark Stoops press conference live when he shows up. Quickly, Oweh is the SEC preseason player of the year. Lowe makes third team. Kentucky's picked second behind Florida. How about James Franklin? Almost $22,000 a day for the next 6 years because they fired his fanny. And about 15 days ago, he was leading Oregon, right, in OT, and it, boom, fell apart. If you don't think that tampering is going to go on with coaches, you got rocks in your head. If you don't think tampering is going on with players on the field after games, you got rocks in your head. And so that's the reason why a lot of coaches are getting canned. So one, these athletics directors can start hiring coaches. But I'm telling you, there will be coaches who are going to be fired, whose ADs are trying to be sneaky about it. And if it leaks out, boom, look out, look out, look out, look out. Seriously. Seriously. And by the way, let me dispute a report. There was a report that Adidas was going to pay for Franklin part or all. Not true, not true, not true. And how about Penn State? They have a $700 million upgrade to their facility. By the way, I covered a lot of games at Penn State. It's a wonderful stadium, and it needed updates basically when I was there covering games. It really did. They had done some stuff, but you knew they had to do some more. And where does all this money come from? Where does it come from? I have no clue. No clue. I want to say something about we got Stoops. Okay, let's go to Mark Stoops' press conference pre-Texas. Here it is. There you have it. Mark Stoops with his press conference. And if there's one word that stuck out to me above everything else was united. He said that this team was united. And I think that's really powerful. I think it's important. And you can say, what else do you expect him to say? Okay, I get that. I understand it. I respect it. But he was pretty strong about that. So I think under the circumstances, I have no reason to disbelieve Mark Stoops. I just don't. Will it be good enough? I doubt it, but I hope so. Seriously, I want Kentucky to win. I do. Let's set up the show. And although it's all about Kentucky for obvious reasons with, the wonderful Madness and Stoops, Jim Master joins us at 1:15, former sharpshooting guard for Kentucky. My partner in Cut to the Chase, Dr. John Wong, at about 12:40. Stoops was short today, and I should have predicted that because it's interesting. There's a lot of things he didn't want to answer. What do you think about all the coaches that are getting fired now? You noticing? Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, he's really not saying anything. And I get it. I get it. Couple comments he said, but a couple things, if you just listen to it, he ain't talking. It's his right. He's at the press conference. He ain't talking. Okay, here is the comment. And Sean, if you don't agree with me, I'm going to come through this screen and throw water on you. You ready?
Good luck.
I don't know what are some of the dumb things the coach will do that you don't follow. I don't know some of the dumb things that, let's say Stoops or Cal did. A lot of it's kept private. So I can only go by what I see. The con job that Kirby Smart did over the weekend was one of the dumbest things he could do. Now, he probably thinks he pulled a fast one. This crap about, I was calling a timeout when he wasn't, and clapping his hands, and then he conned the referees. He screwed himself. Yeah, he won that little battle. He's not going to win the war. Kirby Smart, do you realize, or are you so egotistical that you aren't cognizant of the fact that everybody who referees your game is now pissed off at you? Can I say that word, Sean?
Sure.
They're really pissed off because you made an official look bad. You made an entire crew look bad. And you don't think a lot of these guys and gals are going to hold it against him? You got rocks in your head. So while he pulled off a great con job, and I'm shocked he could do it. Seriously, I'm shocked. He went crazy and he got the benefit of the doubt. And I'm telling you, those officials, that entire crew, got destroyed by the league. They got destroyed. And they should get destroyed. And so, Kirby, you won the battle. You lost the war. Am I saying now Georgia's going to fall apart or anything like that? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying he didn't hurt himself. If there's any question about a close call, I can see now all of a sudden Georgia ain't getting them. They're not getting them. It's going to be psychologically implanted in the minds of officials. They're ticked off. They're really ticked off. And I don't blame them. Sean, if somebody conned you like that, how ticked off would you be next time you had to deal with him?
Yeah, I mean, he's never getting the benefit of the doubt again.
Ever.
No, definitely not for this season, probably for the rest of his career.
And there are some people who have
officials have long memories.
Yes. That's why I never con you, because I'm so afraid of you, Sean.
I burnt out my long-term memory in the 90s.
Now you tell me. Now you tell me. I just couldn't believe the stupidity of that. Really could not believe. First of all, that wasn't my first thought. My first thought was, I can't believe he's counting the officials. And about a minute later, I'm going, the guy's a dumbass. Now, okay, he's got a 13-year contract that he signed, and he's making, is it $13 million a year or something like that, whatever it is? And I said it at the time. It was a dumb contract. And you could say, oh, my gosh, you're down on him and you're ripping. No, I'm not ripping him. I'm down on all those contracts. You think Kirby Smart is going to be just as good 8 years from now as he is now? Maybe. Maybe. But somebody's got to do a report on all the long contracts in the last 15 years and how many actually worked out. And I've referenced this before. It's a number of years ago. The Wall Street Journal did a thing on, at the time, the 10 or 20, I don't remember, but the 10 or 20 biggest contracts in the history of baseball up to that time. And Sean, most of them did not work out. And I'm not surprised. I wouldn't have given Soto $765 million, yet I defended Soto this year when he started out really cold, and people saying, "Oh, my gosh, they gave him all this money and he stinks." And I did this on my show many times. Let the guy relax. He's uptight. He didn't even want to talk to the media. When he finally calmed down, and it took a while, he was the Soto of years past. Didn't surprise me. But is he going to be good 10 years from now at this level? I'm not betting on it. I'm not betting on it. Not me. Not me. No. No. 49 versus 38. And a lot of people will say the obvious. If you can play James Franklin, $49 million to get rid of him, you can pay Stoops 38. And it's pretty obvious. You know, you got to pay the $38 million within days. Franklin will get almost $22,000 a day until the contract is paid off in 6 years. There's a big difference. There's a big difference. It's huge. It's huge. You know, it'll be fascinating. I wonder if Franklin's going to get a job after this. First of all, there's going to be more jobs open than ever before this year that I can remember. Somebody will do a story on it. Second of all, and I stand by this, the reason why some of these guys have gotten fired so soon, and I've been saying this, is so the school can work on making a deal with who they want to be the next coach. It's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. And I'm telling you, there'll be some ADs that will roll the dice, and they'll be talking behind the back of the coach that they have and probably think that they're going to fire, or maybe they've decided they're going to fire, and they will find out who's available and who might be interested. And if that ever leaks, woo, you're talking about embarrassment? It's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. Couple quick notes before we take a break. One, Nate McPeak got his 100th win at Frederick Douglass. Mazel tov. Condolences to Jerry Sander and his family. You know, he was at Channel 27, and I didn't know him that well because he was doing medicals, a really good medical reporter. And everybody told me what a good dude he was. And the really 4 or 5 times I ran into him, we had lovely conversations, and he was a good reporter. And everybody's told me just a really good dude. So thoughts and prayers to his family. How about the Kentucky women? This is incredible. Kentucky now has 3 of the top 40 commitments. 3 top 40 commitments. According to one source, and now another one of these recruiting services say they've got 3 of the top 25, 13, 19, and 23. No other team has more than 1 top 25 commit other than Notre Dame. And on Rivals, they have 2. It's remarkable. And Kenny Brooks says, we're not stopping until we win a national championship. It's a paraphrase, not the direct quote. And I want to tell you, and I said this last week, and I keep on saying this, I have no idea who's going to finish higher. Kentucky or Kentucky. Now, when it comes to the women, I found it interesting that the men are picked second. And I'm just going to be no filter on myself. I do not know the women's rosters like I know the men's rosters. I just don't. You want to call me sexist, that's fine. Call me whatever you want. But they've got Kentucky 8th. That surprised me. Guessing without knowledge, I thought they would be somewhere in the lower part of the top 5. Again, that's just a guess. I don't like saying just a guess. If they really are 8th, oh my gosh, the women's SEC is going to be unfrickin' believable. And Clara Strack, second team, this baffles me. She averaged 15 points, 9.7 rebounds, 2.4 blocks, setting a UK all-time record, and 2.5 assists. And she had multiple games. Nobody else did. 25 points, 16 rebounds, 8 assists, 5 steals, and 8 blocks. Nobody else did that. Nobody else did that. She did it. And so if she can't make first team, the WNBA is going to be full of people from the SEC. That's crazy. And as we said, opening the show, Owe, preseason SEC Player of the Year, low third team. Kentucky picked second behind Florida. Had a funny thing happen over the weekend. And it's a small world. So we went to cross-country meet to watch our grandson. And I don't usually use money. And sometimes I don't open my wallet for months because you got a credit card or you don't. And it's only $5 to get in. And we're about to walk in. And Judy goes, "Hey, you got any money on you?" "Sure." Open my wallet. Sean, I have $6. It's $5 a person. And so Judy's going to do what Judy does. And she Venmos. She Venmos a lot. I don't think I've ever Venmo. But we Venmo in the family. Judy does it. For some reason, the cell phone service wasn't that good. And she's having trouble. And she's going, "Oh, my gosh, I'm having trouble." This gentleman comes up to me, not in my face, don't know who it is, didn't even see him. And, Sean, he starts handing me $10. And he said, "I heard that you were coming to see your grandson." He said, "No one should miss their grandson. Here, take the $10. And the guy's name is John Beck. And I'm going, no, I can't accept this. I can't accept this. I can't accept this. This is going on and on. And I took the $10. And then I said, "Look, I got 6. Please take my 6, which he obviously did. About a minute or so later, Judy got the Venmo. So I can't run with my knee, but I quickly walked up to him and said, Sir, hey, can we trade again?" So he smiled and said, "Yeah." So now we're walking. The race is on. You go from one side to the other, to see who you are watching, and then you come back to the other side. And in the process of going back, this guy comes up to me. "You're Alan Cutler, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "That was my father-in-law that tried to give you the $10. I said, "Well, look, that was very nice. It was just a lovely gesture." And his wife said, "Sean, this was great. He's really cheap." So I laughed and I said, "Do you mind if I use that on my radio show?" He said no, and they had a laugh. Now, the gentleman's last name is Mullen. I don't remember his first name, but Sean, how about this? He used to play a bunch of golf with Matthew Lawrence.
Yeah.
Is that a small world?
Small world.
Yeah, it really is. Just crazy. So, John Beck, God bless you. And the laugh we had when his wife said he's normally really cheap, we had a really, really, really good laugh. Oh, I found the exact quote with Kenny Brooks from Madness. "We will not stop until we become national champions." What a roster. What a roster. What a roster. And the recruiting is just unbelievable. I love this line from Lane Kiffin, and I replayed it just to get the quote. Sean, I think you're going to love this. So Mississippi beats Washington State. I didn't write it down. I'm pretty sure it was 27. I think it was 24-21. And after the game, he probably is by far the most interesting college football coach going when it comes to talking to the media. I wish Stoops had more of Kiffin in him. It's just not his personality. Jimmy, you're going to love this. Jimmy's off. Sean is here today. I looked at your bald head and I'm going, "Oh, no, that's not Jimmy. Sorry about that, dude." You ready for this?
Yes.
We get paid a lot. They get paid a lot. That's not our standard. I love that. There's no BS there. We get paid a lot. They get paid a lot. That's not our standard. And he basically went on to say that the game has changed. These are professional athletes. He was saying it without saying it. And guess what? This is just not good enough. It's just not good enough. I loved it. I didn't like it. I loved it. And we played that clip last week from Chris Button, who I like a lot. She used to be in Knoxville. I told the story. I tried to get her hired at 18. She was really smart by not accepting the job at 18, and she quickly got a much better job, which didn't surprise me, by the way. And she really went off on she's sick and tired of all these Big Ten coaches who are complaining that, guess what? "Oh, my gosh, we got to fly across country and stuff like that." And she said, "Hey, pro athletes do it all the time. It's part of the job. You're a professional athlete. Coaches need to," she basically said they need to shut up, and she's sick and tired of hearing it. I think she said it stronger than I just said it, and I agree. Do I think they're not thinking of the student athlete when they put all this together? Absolutely. Did I rip them when they did this? Absolutely. But guess what? You're all pro athletes. You're pro athletes. Shut the hell up. Really. Wah, wah, wah. And how many of these kids who are flying on these planes are charters and stuff like that? They fly much better than you and I do. And by the way, I'm not jealous of that. More power to them. More power to them. It's nuts. And to me, that is no different. And I mean no different than complaining about your circumstances, complaining about your schedule. I've been screaming for weeks and weeks. I don't want to hear this crap from anybody that Kentucky has a tough schedule, that they can't win because of a tough schedule, and they get the hell out of the league. Kentucky has a tough schedule. Tennessee has a tough schedule. Vandy has a tough schedule. Georgia has a tough schedule. You're either good enough or not. So why don't you all decide to get past that crap? And if you can't win games, you're not good enough. And if you can win games, you're good enough. It's really that simple. I just can't stand the excuse, well, we got a tough schedule. We're playing X number of top 25 teams. What, is Vandy playing chopped liver? Is Mississippi State playing chopped liver? Is Mississippi playing chopped liver? No. And Mississippi could have lost the game the other day. That's why Kiffin went after his kids. And I really like the coaches that aren't afraid to go after their kids. And I don't mean in a mean way. Hey, you're pros. Act like it. This is not our standard. That's Kiffin. And that's the way it should be. It really is the way it should be. I'm sorry. You're either a pro athlete or you're not a pro athlete. You got kids on this football team making 7 figures. You're a professional athlete, period. And by the way, more power to you, the money you're getting. I don't begrudge it. But you know, don't complain. Don't complain. So, the best things that Stoops said today, he said the team is united. I have no reason not to believe him. And I got to tell you, if they really are united, I'm not questioning Stoops. It's a credit to these kids, and it's a credit to the coaching staff, and it's a credit to everybody inside the building that they're still united. Because these kids aren't stupid. They know everybody's talking about Stoops getting fired. They're not stupid. Please, don't insult the intelligence of the young people on the football team. Now, they beat Texas. Will there be some of the I told you so? Absolutely. And you know what? I'd love it. I'd love it. You people in the media didn't give us any chance and da-da-da-da-da. Look, I would say, you're right. More power to you. More power to you. If I'm going to say something, guess what? If it turns out differently, then somebody has a right to chomp back at me. Sean, you think all that is perfectly fair, don't you?
I think it is, actually.
You and Payne, that's twice I've asked you and twice you agree with me. And ladies and gentlemen, there's nobody inside LM Communications that would want to disagree with me more than you because of our history, correct?
That's very true. Very true.
How many years we go back? 25, 30?
Oh, let's go 26, 27.
Oh, okay. I trust your memory with that better than mine. You know, yeah, you did have more hair. Hey, let me tell you something that you want to check out. My wife is in love with, I think she's still in love with me. She's in love more with the XC60, the Volvo, the hybrid. I don't know about today. We've had the car 3 weeks today. We leased it. And I know as of yesterday, I can honestly say she hasn't used a drop of gas. Here's what's fascinating. We get 41 miles per charge that we do at the house. And so she's been close. And if you go over, you go over. You got to tank it. Yes, you got to use it sometime. But she hasn't been over one time. She has not used a drop of gas in 3 weeks. And that saves money. And I calculated with some smart people, it's basically saving a couple payments a year, besides the environment and all that kind of stuff. But the thing is so smooth, it's unbelievable. She makes my sports car, puts it to shame. She loves it. So the suggestion is these are lovely people, the Quantrill Auto Group. They really are. They'll take care of you. And don't forget about the Outback. The Outback, they've got a special 0%, 0% interest for 36 months if you want to spread it out. 72 months if you want to go that way, 1.9%. That's a great deal. It's a great deal. 0% interest for 36 months with the Outback. Hey, don't forget the Quantrill family of dealerships, the right place to get your next Subaru, and they promise to get you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks. Alan Cutler, honored to be with you. Thanks for telling a friend or two as this thing continues to grow. Appreciate you all tremendously. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
The Alan Cutler Show on ESPN 92.5 and 1300 AM and on the ESPN Lexington app. Presented by Republic Bank.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no-filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
I'm Kathy Binkaman. Over the holiday, there was an attempted fraud attack. My personal banker, Mary Rose, and I networked together, and the first thing that I thought of was I have to text her. And it was just within the next few minutes, there was an entire team that came together collectively. And that's just not the type of service that you typically get from your bank.
That's Kathy's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. The Quantrill Auto Group has a great deal for this month. Subaru. The Outback is special, so check this out. 0%. That's right, 0% interest for 36 months. And if you want to spread it out to 72 months, 1.9%. What a deal. 0% interest for 36 months. Don't forget, the Quattro family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Subaru, and they promise you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
Get in the winner's circle with Clark's Pump and Shop. Stop by and pick up 5-hour energy shots, 2 for $4.99, or Rolade sticks. Buy one, get one free. Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Listen to the Alan Cutler Show weekdays noon to 2 on ESPN 92.5 and 1300 AM and on the ESPN Lexington app. Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
Well, I think a lot of people didn't think I would still come back then once Cal left. And like I said, this is a school I played for. Yes, Cal was my coach. I love Cal to death, but this is a school that gave me the opportunity to get a D1 scholarship and reach my ultimate goal to play college basketball. So I'm always going to have a place. This place always have, in my heart, they always have a place for me, and I'm always going to be able to come back and support. So I wanted to surprise them when Coach Pope asked, could I be here? I was like, let me see. Let's see if we can make it happen. So yeah, I wanted to make it happen. So I was in the back the whole time with my hoodie on. People was looking and trying to see who it was, so I tried to keep it low key.
John Wall, SEC Network, and I tell you what, the John Wall dance, the place went crazy. It is tough. And there have been many years, madness, I think a lot of people agree with this, a lot of people have said it, has been stale. But with Wall and the excitement, it was really good. Top 25, AP is out. Purdue, for the first time, is preseason number one. They have 35 votes. Houston is second. They have 16 first-place votes. Florida is third with 8 first-place votes. Then you got UConn. Pitino is fifth. Duke sixth. Michigan seventh. BYU with all that money eighth. Some guy was kind of jerky on Twitter saying, oh, look at this. Pope can't coach here. He's here 1 year. I thought he did a hell of a job. Okay, that's somebody just being a jerk, I think. Pope can't coach here. And look, he leaves BYU and they got better. So I put a thing about all the money they now have. The guy didn't answer. You know, everybody's entitled to opinion, but there are some dumb opinions out there, okay? Kentucky is ninth with 3 first-place votes. No first-place votes. Excuse me. Kentucky is ninth. Texas Tech is 10. Louisville is 11th. UCLA 12th. Arizona, then Cal 14. Alabama, Iowa State, Illinois, Tennessee, Kansas, Auburn, even without Bruce Pearl, interesting. And Gonzaga is 21, then Michigan State, Creighton, Wisconsin, and North Carolina. Here's a guy that's never number 25, like North Carolina is, my dear friend, my partner in Cut to the Chase, where people are still buying, not a lot, but they're still buying and reading Cut to the Chase. My friend, Dr. John Wong. Doc, how are you?
Alan, I'm doing well, but you never refer to me as Studley. You call all your other guests Studley. I bet you when Jim Master comes on, you're going to call him Studley. Why don't I ever get called Studley?
First of all, you're incorrect. I don't call a lot of guests Studley. Do I call some? Yes. Second of all, I will never call you Studley. And actually, what I do respect, for as old as you are, you have stayed thin and you're a workout animal, and I respect it. And I'm jealous of the fact, as heavy as I am, if I ate the way you ate, I'd be 30 pounds heavier. So I'm jealous of you, but you're not Studley.
It's not just the physical aspect. Can you be Studley in the classroom also? I think you can.
Yeah, I don't look at it that way, and I think that's fair, but no, I'm not going to call you Studley.
Oh, all right. Hey, I tried, Sean.
I can't believe you tried. That was actually really weak. It was actually weak. Okay. We sat next to each other in madness, and what was your opinion?
Well, the first thing I noticed was something that you brought up also, that we were probably the only old guys sitting up there in the press box. What is it with all these young people? I understand it's a pipeline. You know, you've got these Colonel reporters that come on to the UK beat, and this is the way they make their way into the journalism world. But my God, it really felt like that everybody's getting younger and younger every single year. Didn't that seem like it to you?
There were a couple of kids on press row that could have been my grandkids. Slight exaggeration, but not much.
Well,
not much. And the kid to my left, I'm sorry, I can't remember his name. He was working for the Cat's Paws, and the guy on the right, he was working for another site. They weren't Colonel kids.
Yeah. Well, they were. I'm sure they came up through the ranks, but I don't think either of them were 25 years old or not. And that's part of my. It's not really a beef. It's just more or less an observation that you really can't fake experience. So when I'm sitting there in Big Blue Madness and I'm watching all these videos and John Wall comes out and then all the players are paraded in at the very, very end, I literally have tears in my eyes. And I just don't really understand how anybody who hasn't gone through that history, not just 10 years of history, but we're looking at 50 years of history, how anybody can really get the full effect of what this program means to people who have followed it as they've grown up. And this isn't a shot at you, Alan. You've been around for a long time. I think you truly understand the heart of the program, but you weren't here during the formidable years of your childhood when, you know, people were crying because Kentucky lost to Jacksonville and Dan Issel fouled out. Stuff like that stays with you. And they are indelible memories that show you how much Kentucky basketball means to you. And I just don't think anybody who's 25 years old can truly understand that. And to be able to convey it to your readership, oh, my, that's a double extra hard challenge for them.
I did watch the game on TV and Kentucky got screwed. I said it at the time when I was a child that was a BS call on the foul, by the way. It was a BS call.
Vaughn Wedeking, always going into my Villains Hall of Fame. He'll be right there, up there at the top with all the Duke players over time.
Well, I don't blame him. I blame the official.
Well, he flopped.
Okay, but an official is supposed to be smart enough to understand that.
All right. So can you not blame Kirby Smart because he pulled the hood over the official this past week with this call?
Did you not hear what I just did? It was a dumbass move.
I did, but blame the official. Don't blame him.
Oh, first of all, it is the official's fault, but that's not what I'm talking about. You're absolutely right. It's the official's fault. There's no question about it. But he now will never get the benefit of the doubt on a call because every official is ticked off that Kirby Smart conned them. And I am telling you, I know how the SEC league goes. They already got chomped like crazy, the whole crew, got destroyed, and they deserve to get destroyed for getting conned. Now, okay, you're an official. You're 45, 50 years old, okay, and you're taken to the woodshed. How do you like that? They were taken to the woodshed. If not, shame on the SEC, and I would bet you your paycheck.
Yeah, this goes back to the same Calipari argument. We've had this time and time again, how him yelling at the officials and being on everybody all the time, every single second, would ultimately come back and haunt him and beat him because nobody liked him anymore. None of the officials, nobody wearing striped shirts wanted to make the calls for Kentucky's favor. So this is kind of the same thing. But my underlying point is Kirby Smart doesn't give a hoot. He doesn't care. In his mind, these guys, their egos are so big, they think they can do anything they want. They are above the law. You saw that with Rick Pitino. You saw that with John Calipari. You're seeing these with all these high-grade football coaches. They think they're above the law. Doesn't matter what they do. Their egos are so big that they're going to do what they're going to do.
Well, it's not doing Kentucky a favor. That's where you're 100% wrong. It's just making the right call. Just make the right call. And you could tell there were a number of officials that before the game started, you just knew Kentucky wasn't going to get any favor. And Cal continuing to scream at the officials when the play was over, it was just dumb. It's funny. Cal at times was ahead of the class with a lot of things he did. In the old days, actually, there were times that would work where you get a makeup call. But if you shove it in the face of the officials that many times, I can't believe maybe they did and Cal didn't listen to him, but I think a lot of Cal's assistants were afraid to stand up to him, even behind closed doors, say, hey, John, I disagree with you. I really do. And I could be wrong. Actually, I think Robick was a guy, one of the few guys that would do it. Hey, Cal, you got to stop that. You're hurting us. Can you imagine sitting in John's office and you're the low assistant and you say that to John Calipari? He'd throw you out of the office. And you know what? It's closed-minded. Cal became very closed-minded.
Officials are humans also. You don't think a Don Rutledge loved kind of giving Kentucky the middle finger sometimes when he knew that he was right and he could stick it to the Cats just because of the way that he was treated in Rupp Arena? He loved it.
Don Rutledge, it's not like we became personal friends, but he reffed so many games that we had a lot of short conversations. And I thought he had a good sense of humor. And I thought he handled all that stuff actually really well compared to some other guys who, what I call, we'll leave it at this, had the pucker effect. And you know what? Sometimes, I don't care if you're in Lexington, I don't care if you're in Knoxville, sometimes it is the right call. Sometimes, and guess what? Fans don't like it. They just don't like it. So not every bad call that was deemed by Don Rutledge to be against Kentucky was against Kentucky and a bad call. Some, absolutely, no question, but not as many. And that's not a shot against Kentucky fans. It's all fans. You don't think Notre Dame fans? Come on, stop it, behave yourself.
No, that's part of the fun. Some of my most enjoyable times in Rupp Arena have been as a fan yelling at the referee. Now, I wasn't one of those that went over the edge, or at least I don't think I was. But I remember there was one specific time when we were really getting on Rutledge about a particular call. And during the timeout, you know what he did? He turned around, looked us directly in the eye, and smiled.
Yep, I've seen that smile. That smile. And that was, I think, their way of diffusing it. That was his way of saying, got your back.
Yeah. He was certainly disarming from that standpoint.
And for all the Kentucky fans who didn't like him, and I know there's some young people who don't even know who Don Rutledge is, so we should move on. But with all the things about Don Rutledge, the league wasn't as good when he retired. And I believe that. How about Clockerty, too? Same way with him. And he would diffuse it in the same way.
Yeah, all those guys going even back further. How about Paul Galvan? You remember him?
I do remember him. He was in the latter parts with me. Clockerty and Rutledge had winked at me more than once. Not that they were winking to wink at me, but it was more of a wink like, whatever, smile. And Clockerty, he and Rutledge do this. They had the whistle in their mouth and they would smile out of the side as to say, I'll let you see it, but I'm not letting everybody else see it, or maybe some people saw it. Anyway, enough of that.
Yeah, I realize that's not great radio for the young generation coming on board, but it in circling back, it does kind of prove my point that you can't fake history. All these things are embedded in our minds, and they're a part of who we are as Kentucky basketball fans, and you can't dismiss it.
No, you can't. Okay, I want to do this. We'll talk more madness in a minute, but it's a video. Sean, I can't see you in the studio.
Yes, I am.
Okay, would you cue up that touchdown by Nebraska? We'll get back to Kentucky basketball, but we're going to switch up and back a little bit. Sean, give me a thumbs up when you have it. Okay, here's the irony of this play and how it might have something to do with the changing of the structure of college football. Here's how Nebraska won the game over the weekend. Here it is.
Put the ball in the hands of your best playmaker. Raiola throws into the flat. Nebraska takes the lead.
Dane Key catches the winning touchdown for Nebraska. Nebraska is now 5-1. Nebraska will never be the way they were under Tom Osborne. It's just not going to happen. Okay? And so Matt Rule has done a very good job there. And it was a tougher job when he showed up than I think people realize. And so now at 5-1, and they're a top 25 team. Do you know what school Matt Rule comes from? Penn State. Now, Penn State is saying that Terry Smith, who I don't know, I know the name and that kind of stuff, but I don't know him, is the interim head coach at Penn State. What's going to be fascinating to me is how these new contracts come out. How many coaches will get? You got to give a guy 4-year contract. You have to with recruiting and stuff like that. The 7 and 8 years be fascinating, and it'd be interesting to see what the buyouts are if all of a sudden they go down. And I think if they start going down, there might be some coaches like a Nebraska coach who won't go to Penn State if they want him and if he wanted to move because he's got a better financial deal. So suppose you want to hire Terry Smith just playing a game. You're not going to give him a 38, 49, it was even more when it started, million buyout. You can give him a 4-year contract, and you could pay him probably $5 million a year, which I think he would take in 2 seconds. And you got to guarantee 3 or 4 years. You do. And you're not going to fire the guy after 1 year unless he's horrible. But all of a sudden, the buyout is nothing in comparison. You know, the one thing, and I scream about these buyouts, this is a big business. It's on a different level than you and me. But these buyouts that they have now, I've said for years, are just downright stupid. And I'm really curious if some of the people getting hired, I don't know this, but I'm curious if some of the people getting hired will get jobs because these schools don't want to poach a coach from another school on a sort of equal level and have to pay the money and then some to get that coach away from that school. If there'll be more and more coaches from the Power Four moving up, if there'll be more assistant coaches moving up, maybe. I don't know. It's going to be fascinating to watch because I got to tell you, if they keep on giving these contracts out, these presidents should take more heat. And, you know, it's interesting, the lady who gave Franklin the contract, you know, she quickly left. That was giving the contract out the door and stuff like that. It's going to be fascinating to see.
Yeah, it's a systemic problem, Alan. I mean, it's not, you can't just blame the ADs. I know you sent me a text saying, hey, it's these ADs that are dumbasses and they need to be held accountable. Well, that's certainly true.
Wait a second. It's the ADs, it's the presidents who has to approve it, and the board. Because the board is the one who said we don't want Stoops. And no contract like Stoops gets approved without the president saying yes. It's not all on Mitch.
It's part of the system now. I mean, from what we understand, Stoops' buyout is not an outlier at all. I think who was it? Mark Story, who put out a story in the Herald Leader, which I thought was fascinating. He talked about what the buyouts were of some of the current coaches. And when you talk about somebody like Kirby Smart, who has, I think it was $105 million buyout, you know, people like Kalen DeBoer at Alabama with $60 million. I mean, it's not like Stoops is up there at the top of the chain. In fact, I think his buyout was actually ranked 12. So my feeling is, Alan, it's the inmates running the asylum, and all this is not sustainable. This is the way that we are in this world right now, where we are paying players to play. we're paying these exorbitant amounts to coaches to coach. And what's worse, we're paying them these exorbitant amounts sometimes not to coach with the buyouts. While at the same time, you're throwing out money for these entertainment districts, these thoughts of practice training facilities. Yeah. This cannot go on. Where is the money coming from? I certainly am not going to be one holding the bag on all of this. It's just going to all come crashing down under the weight of our collective paychecks.
So they're not asking you for more money as an esteemed graduate of UK, as your father?
They ask me for money all the time, and I'm very, very selective in, to me, there's still a clear divide between academics and athletics. And I'm still heavily weighted toward the academic side. I'm not ashamed to say that.
Why would you say you're not ashamed to say that? Good for you. You shouldn't not ashamed to say that. Good for you.
Well,
I applaud you for that until you said I'm not ashamed to say it.
I think you can do both. I think you can do both.
Of course you can, but you shouldn't have to say not ashamed to say it. Shame on you. You'd be stronger than that.
I'm not going to throw away, $50,000 in NIL money for somebody that may or may not be here or may not pan out. I'd much rather that $50,000 go into some sort of academic scholarships. And so all this stuff, NIL, it's I just don't know where it's gonna head. I hate to say it, because how many times have I said I don't want to sound like that old fart saying, "Get off my lawn." But you got to think about it. This whole idea, people say we're making progress with NIL. It's going to be great. You got to move with the times. Well, ultimately, it's taking away what was so special about college sports. And it hurts me to see it kind of going down all in the guise of, hey, let's pay players. Yeah, I'm not against paying them. They should get what they deserve. But on the other hand, the one thing that was so special about college, so-called amateur sports, I know it's kind of Pollyannish to be talking about like that, was that you still played for the name on that front of the jersey. And we have literally lost that over the course of time. I can see it in the fans. I can see it in the athletes that come through UK. It just ain't the same. It was better in the olden days. There, I feel better now. Thank you for letting me vent.
Sound like an old fart. You know that?
Yeah,
can you hang on, Doc?
Yeah, I can.
I'm glad you feel better.
Yeah.
I mean, we taking a sip of water or something like that because you feel better? Milk or whatever. Blue Lotus. 859. Anybody watching on YouTube should see your face. 859-533-0914. You're a piece of work, Doc. I love you, but you're a piece of work. 859-533-0914. Acupuncture. Now also providing a licensed massage therapist, Ramon Carriega. He's a special dude. He's helped me tremendously. And last week wasn't the first time, but it's amazing how fidgety I was when I first started doing this a long, long time ago. And now there have been times I fall asleep and I'm so relaxed, which allows the needles to help you more. To me, it's a blessing. Acupuncture. Please use my name on For Sales Road, Ramon Carriega. A Lexington kid, 859-533-0914, 859-533-0914, with Dr. John Wong, my dear friend, the old fart, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
The Alan Cutler Show on ESPN 92.5 and 1300 AM, and on the ESPN Lexington app, presented by Republic Bank.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no-filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313, 859-381-1313.
My name is Terry Schultz, CEO for the Rutherford County Area Habitat for Humanity. Republic Bank has really been a game changer. They have invested not only financially, but time to really listen so that we can move our mission forward. What I like about Republic Bank is they've come in asking, what are your needs? And I don't know that you get that any other place.
That's Terry's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. The Quantrill Auto Group has a great deal for this month. Subaru. The Outback is special, so check this out. 0%. That's right, 0% interest for 36 months. And if you want to spread it out to 72 months, 1.9%. What a deal! 0% interest for 36 months. Don't forget, the Quattro family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Subaru, and they promise you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
Great selection of snacks is holding steady while the drive-thru service is rounding out the pack. They're rounding the turn, and it's Clark's Pump and Shop for the win!
Get in the winner's circle with Clark's Pump and Shop. Stop by and pick up 5-hour energy shots, 2 for $4.99, or Rolade sticks, buy one, get one free. Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Matthew and Jimmy, Alan Cutler, and Brad Taylor. We ain't much to look at, but who cares? It's radio. Local and live Monday to Friday, 10 to 3. Get the ESPN Lexington app. Just search ESPN Sports Lexington in your app store.
W223CV Lexington.
ESPN Sports Radio 1300 and 92.5. WLXG Lexington and LM Communications Broadcasting Station. Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
We're back. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM. My dear friend, John Old Fart Wong, is kind enough to join us. So last week I got lucky where I was talking about what a great athlete Chandler is. I think he's going to play in the NBA forever. I think he's still scratching the surface. And then that dunk he had from that beautiful pass from John Wall that brought the house down was absolutely spectacular. I said last week, look, I know Pope is not going to do this, but I would start him. And I wouldn't start Garrison. Garrison is going to start, and I would start Aberdeen for defense, and they can be faster and more athletic, and the Garrison's an athlete, but I like the feel of Aberdeen better. So that's not going to happen. I said it right off the bat, but I think the world is waking up that Chandler is a great athlete. I love his shot. I love how he gets it off. In about 6 minutes, I'm going to ask Jim Master what he thinks of Chandler's shot, since Jim was a great shooter. So what do you think of Chandler? And look, I look at it this way. Kentucky's in a basket of about a dozen teams. You know, whether it's Houston, Louisville, sorry, it is what it is, Purdue, whatever, Patino. I mean, you can take a look at all these teams and throw them together and you say, hey, could they get to the Final Four? Yeah. Love the potential. But Kentucky's not the only school with potential. There's more good teams now than ever before because guys stay around. Your take on Chandler, your take on the team.
I love Chandler. I loved his hops. I thought that dunk was certainly one of the top 5 highlights of Big Blue Madness. Interesting question, dilemma, though. Kentucky's going to find out what kind of team they are probably pretty early on. I mean, when you start out in your first exhibition game against the number 1 rated team in the country, that's going to show you a lot. My question to you, Alan, is do you think Pope is going to play to win that game specifically?
Yes.
All right. So
yes.
No holds barred.
Yes.
He's going to play to win.
Yes.
And you know what? Love to be able to hear that.
Unless he says otherwise, I can't believe people are even bringing that up. Because guess what? He wants to find out what his team has. That's what he wants to do.
From that standpoint, I think that starting lineup that he throws out there will speak volumes about what's happened during the offseason, because he's going to start who he thinks should be starting at the beginning of the year.
Right. And he could change his mind. But this stuff about, interchangeable parts and stuff like that, he wants to judge, as any coach would, where his team is. Produced number 1, first time they've ever been ranked number 1 in preseason, that kind of stuff. And let me tell you, everybody's going to do this. Kentucky wins by 15, people are going to go crazy. Kentucky loses by 15, they're going to go crazy. Read my lips. It's a measuring stick. It's not even Thanksgiving. And so both teams, no matter what they show on the 24th will probably end up being much better. But we overreact. Fans overreact. I've been guilty of that. Everybody's been guilty of that. It's a measuring stick. Of course, Pope's going to want to win. Of course, he wants to see what he has. Of course, he's going to look at combinations.
Here's where the old fart in me comes out again. Yes, I've been following him long enough to realize that what you just said was absolutely true, that we just don't know, that we've got to wait, let this thing play out and kind of enjoy the ride as it goes along. Back to the old fart thing again. I thought the John Wall thing for Big Blue Madness was probably my top highlight from that standpoint, other than the ice cream voucher that you gave me. You know, both of those, I'd say that was probably 1 and 2 in regard to the highlights. But John Wall, believe it or not, he is not ancient history. I know most of those guys sitting beside us were probably 8 to 10 years old when he came through, but John Wall is recent history. He got his opportunity to play at the University of Kentucky, the program with the greatest tradition in the history of college basketball, because of all the great people that went before him. People like Jim Master, people like Kyle Macy, people like Jack Givens, Sam Bowie, Kenny Walker. And those guys owe it to the guys before them. You know, the Frank Ramseys, the Cliff Hagans, and they owe it to people like Ralph Beard and Kenny Rollins. It really is the program that makes it special. I know we talk about the fans, blah, 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 but an integral part of all this is your pedigree. What have you done? Your tradition. Kentucky needs another championship to kind of further that tradition. It's time. The bar has to be set way, way high this year. It's championship or bust.
It was really good, Doc. On that note, I say goodbye. That was wonderful. You want to give a plug for something we didn't do yet, please.
Yeah. I'm going to be giving a couple of talks coming up. Next Tuesday, October 21st, it's going to be the kickoff session of what we call Socrates in Kentucky. It's a forum series where people get together and talk about some of life's deep philosophical issues. And I'm going to be talking about one of the most philosophical issues as human beings, and that is why we are here. So you'll get my personal take on that. Look on my social media feeds. I think it's a little bit too late to RSVP, but hey, let them know that I sent you. They'll let you in. And then secondly, October is National Mental Health Awareness Month. So I'm going to be starting a series through NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, about caring for family members. This is specifically targeted for people who have a loved one who is suffering from mental illness. It's really a class that we're going to give you a lot of great information. Once again, look on my social media feed. I've got some links. You can go ahead and register. It's a series of 3 classes, and those classes, I promise you, will be life-changing if you're dealing with somebody who has mental illness.
God bless you, brother. You're the best. Appreciate your friendship, and catch you down the road.
All right, thanks. I'll be looking for that ice cream voucher again, man. That was good.
Get off my phone. Here's another man who could eat the extra ice cream, and he won't show it. Doesn't show on Dr. John Wong, and it won't show on Jim Master. Dude, how the hell have you kept skinny 40 years after you played? Former sharpshooting guard for Kentucky. What a weird way to introduce you, but that's me, Jim. That doesn't surprise you. The former sharpshooting guard for Kentucky, Jim Master, kind enough to join us for about 12 minutes. Hello, Jim.
Hello, Alan. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Beautiful day, beautiful weather, and talking basketball. So that's a good day.
There you go. Okay, so how many times have you had a chance to see the team?
Twice. I took my SEER coaches, the real coaches over there, a few weeks ago. They had pro day. No, that wasn't pro day. I saw you on pro day, but went to a practice, loved it, enjoyed it, and then my son and I went over for pro day and saw you the other night. So
what do you think?
Well, extremely impressed. And the ironic thing about it is both times I've been there, of course, like you, Alan, and people going, the 2 supposedly best players aren't even playing right now. So, and it's very impressive. The shooting they have, it just seems like every single one of them definitely have talent and definitely will contribute. And his style of ball, I think all of them are going to get opportunities, all of them. So I think it's really exciting. They're very, very deep. They're competitive, very competitive against each other, which will make them a better team. So I'm really impressed. I think it's going to be a very good year.
You're excited. I can feel it. So I got to ask you something you're not going to like. You ready?
Okay.
Okay. It won't bother you, Jim. I've known you too long. Okay. We're going to play a game of horse. I'd like to say I wrote this question down, but that's not me. We're going to play a game of horse, you and Noah. Okay, because people back in the day, you could flat out shoot. This is a 3-point shot. I've said this to you before. If this is a 3-point shot back then, you'd have played in the NBA forever. But life has been, you've made a great life. So, it is what it is. But there's no doubt in my mind you'd have played in the NBA forever because you could shoot a lot deeper than Joe B. Not a shot at Joe B., but Joe B. just didn't like the long shots. Okay, I saw you sometimes in practice where before, like, you just didn't miss. And then when Joe B would come in, everybody get a little closer to the basket or something like that. So, all right, Jim Master, Noah, who wins the game of horse?
Well, again, I'm going to say before Noah, wow. And, of course, he won the 3-point shooting contest last night or the other night and in practice, this, Alan, which is beautiful. They chart everything. Everything's filmed now. Everything's just crazy. And he's the best shooter during the practices, during the scrimmages, all this. So he is an incredible shooter. Also, remember, am I wrong, Alan? He's 6'6", big, strong kid. Has worked on his frame, too, the past 6 months. So extremely impressed. I would like to think it would be close if I were back in my youth and shooting. But all these kids now, they have the 3-pointer. That makes them better shooters, I believe, but it also lets them practice, Alan, that shot from way out there. And, of course, it makes him a better shooter from 3-point range because there is a 3-pointer now. But he is an incredible shooter. But all those kids, I almost mean all of them, can really shoot.
It's amazing how big guys want to be guards, right? Hey, let's put it this way. Sam Bowie could shoot. Okay, and if Sam was playing today, could I see him jacking up a lot of threes and making a ton of threes? Sam could shoot now.
Yes. But Melvin Turpin could shoot too.
Yeah.
Probably from 3-point range, but Melvin was a crazy 15, 16, 17-foot shooter. Crazy. Sam, when he got injured, lost some of that. But yes, he loved shooting a 3-pointer before there was a 3-pointer. So in college. So, I think he definitely would have taken some of them. No doubt about it.
Not a fair question, Jim. In your opinion, is Kentucky basketball back?
Yeah, I'm saying they actually had a pretty crazy year last year. I hope everybody remembers. They had serious injuries toward the end of the year and still won some very important games and still made it out into the Sweet 16 with 3 or 4 very much key injuries. So my point to everybody is, who knows what last year could have done? This year, they're even deeper. Yes, they're even more talented, I think, at certain positions. So the answer is yes. They're Alan, you probably know more. I think they're a serious contender, especially if they get both young men back that haven't been on the court per se in practice yet. So
and Owe was just named the preseason pick for a player of the year. Look, I've said this many times in my show. Butler had 2 shoulders, right? Robinson, who basically had his best 5 games when he got hurt, and he was really coming on. And everybody forgets about Kirk Creaser, who would have been the guy to push it up court very, very fast. I'm not saying they won a national championship, but I have said many times, do I think they could have beaten Tennessee in advance? I do, by the way. And so I love that team more than I think a lot of people did because they said, well, it was really good for the first year. I'm going, can you imagine Butler with 2 shoulders?
Yes. I think it was way better than, for the first year comment. Right. They had a really good year and then had serious dilemmas with players getting hurt at key spots, and they still won some very big games. So, I don't know. So they would have been better is my whole point.
Right. Is there a certain player or two that you're looking at that you can't wait to see, or you just kind of play it out and it is what it is?
Well, I'm going to say a few things. I really mean this. All of them look good, but I'm going to say this. I tell my son this a little bit these days. They look good and you look good, but no one really knows, Alan, until the lights are on, till the real games. Here's my point to that. Ortega last year, he always looked good in practice. I didn't think he was going to be the dog that he was or is. because he is. When he's out there, he's the alpha dog. And the point is, when you turn on the lights, who's the alpha dogs? I think we have several dogs this year, is my point. The young man from Florida, wow, the 2 practices I've seen and what I've heard, he's an alpha dog, I believe. And I can't wait to see how they perform again when it's a real game and in a real spotlight. I think they're going to be really good, and some of those kids are going to be exceptional. We haven't even talked about Lowe yet. Wow, what a point guard! He has a lot of experience. Crazy good point guard, I think. I'm telling you, I'm really excited. I'll be shocked if they don't go some crazy record this year.
By the way, when you say alpha dogs, to me, when they got Diabate and Aberdeen, they're both alpha dogs. Both
Absolutely.
alpha dogs. And they're physically strong, and they're this is not knocking last year's team, because if you didn't love last year's team, I can't help you. But just a general comment, not to you, Jim. But they're also more athletic, much more athletic than last year, and they can guard. He's got a bunch of kids they're men. Sorry about that, but they can guard. And I know you got to go. Let me throw one more thing at you. Cody Fuger kind of slipped, thank goodness. He did last year, and I can't remember what it was, but he said something in an interview, and I went, that's what Pope wants to do. And it was easy to figure it out from there. He used the word in an interview I listened to, and I forgot who did it. I'm not trying to not give anybody credit. It just is what it is. He used the word waves. He said, we're going to come at you at waves. So I don't see a platoon. Not that I know that's a dirty word around here. I don't give a crap about that. Neither do you. You're it is what it is. But I could see many times he's substituting 2 and 3 at a time, and he's going to keep the guys fresh, and they're going to run more, and they're going to go on at waves, and he's got a bigger wave this year if, that dirty word, if everyone stays healthy. So this waves thing that he said, I could see it, and I could see him Pope being able to wear other teams down, because there's so much talent that they can go at waves.
I would agree. So again, it goes back to some of my point. The 9th guy on the team, the 10th guy on the team, the 11th guy on the team, they will get opportunities. It's up to them to do what they do with the opportunities. We have a lot of good players. I think they all can contribute. So I believe in that, the waves, and I believe in he has no problem substituting right away if something is not going right, and or somebody gets injured, knocked down. He's got a lot of weapons at his disposal, and I'm sure he'll use them. Alan, they play such an up and down game anyway, and they look for the threes, they spread it out. So if someone, gets tired after 4 or 5 crazy good minutes, there's other people to come in. I really believe it's going to be a special year. I really believe that. So,
and as good as they were scoring, they're going to be even better because they're going to push the ball. Hey, I know you got to go. Thank you for your time. Couple of weeks from now, if it fits in your schedule, I'd love to have you come back, just talk hoops. It's really nice that we rekindled our relationship. It makes me happy. Besides, your knowledge is first class, and I've always appreciated that.
Well, your knowledge on this one, I'll give you is their defense is going to be way better because of the alpha dogs and the hustle and how tough they are. They're going to be way better on defense.
You want anything you want to plug that you're doing?
No, I'm good. I'm good. Watching my son grow up, watching him play a little basketball. We're good.
Hey, that sounds lovely, actually. That's not good. That's spectacular. Hey, Jim, catch you down the road. Bless you, dude. Appreciate you.
Thank you. All right.
See you, man. Jim
All right,
Master, always a really good dude. And Sean, I've said this a gazillion times. He could flat out shoot. He could shoot. Seriously. And a fun dude and was fearless. And big time player. Big time player. Breaking news. I just saw this in the Herald Leader. Give credit where you see it from. Wish everybody would do that, by the way. So Darius Smith just announced on Instagram he's retiring. 3-time Pro Bowler, 6 weeks into his 11th NFL season. He says he's feeling a ton of emotions. He put on Instagram, 33 years old. Had 10 tackles, 3 quarterback hits, and a sack and a half in 5 games, 2 starts this season. But in Thursday's loss to the Giants, which shocked the hell out of me, he only had 17 snaps. Okay. By the way, in 2019, he was big time. At 13 and a half sacks, and 20, he had 12.5. I guess I'm a little surprised, Sean, as I'm just looking at this story from the Herald, why he's retiring mid-season. I don't get it. Maybe he was playing only 17 plays. Maybe he feels like he's got enough money, and that if they're really not going to use him, that maybe it's time to go. And knowing Philadelphia, they probably didn't want him to retire, but if somebody wants to retire, you don't try to convince them otherwise because their heart won't be in it. Really good dude, by the way. Really good dude. Intense, whatever. Sean, I got to tell you, as I'm just going through this baffles me. It just baffles me. The 17 snaps, I don't know why I only played 17 snaps last Thursday. That was weird because as I'm watching the game, I was looking for him. And then sometimes, you're watching the play and you don't see that kind of thing. And I get that. And I said to myself, man, I barely see him, but I assumed that maybe I missed some stuff. Look at it this way. Think about what he did. In 145 games, 98 starts, he had 70 sacks. 70 sacks. Ravens, Packers, Vikings, Browns, Lions, and Eagles. And I do remember the story when he finally got here that he only played high school football for 1 year. And unless I've totally lost my mind, JC transfer. 4th rounder out of Kentucky. I wonder if he's going to have to give back some money. Or Philadelphia, they're unusually class, and a deal is a deal. But often when you don't fulfill your contract in a bonus, sometimes you have to give it back. And so I don't know the answer. His deal was $4.25 million that he signed with the Eagles on September 5th. That included a $2.25 million signing bonus. Sean, I'm going to guess, because this has happened many times before, that the bonus then becomes, well, it depends how they paid it. You can pay it one lump sum, or you can kind of pay it as sort of a salary, but you often give somebody a bonus like this because you're, up against the cap, and there's different things you can do when you give somebody a signing bonus versus a salary. I don't know the particulars about that, but he might have to give some of the bonus money back.
I'm looking at his contract, 1 year, $4.25 million.
Right.
With potential to reach $9 million through incentives. It doesn't say anything that I can see about a signing bonus.
It's in this copy here that the $4.25 million included a $2.25 million signing bonus.
Okay.
And Sean, you've seen this before. They restructure the contract of a quarterback, and they give him this has happened before, $20 million up front, so that they change the structure of the contract so it takes the salary cap hit down so you can get more players. I'm going to guess without knowing that the reason he got that much money up front, one, of course, they never thought he would leave, and I thought he signed really late.
Yeah, September 5th of this year.
Yeah, and that surprised me that he wasn't signed a lot earlier. So I don't know if he didn't think about playing or he didn't like the offers or whatever, or knowing him a little bit. I don't know this, but it wouldn't be surprised if he had offers from teams that couldn't win. And at this point in time in his career, I could see him saying, I'm going to wait for a team that can win. Knowing him from back in the day, could I see that? Oh, absolutely. Again, I don't know if he had other offers, but it's shocking he waited to that point in time. But, you sign with Philadelphia, you say, hey, we got a shot at going back to back, and I want to get a ring. That sounds like him from the kind of person he was. He really emphasized winning. And I loved his effort, and he was a high character guy. This is still shocking. He's 33 years old. And his last quote, I knew this day would come, but now that it's here, I'm feeling so many emotions I never expected. I think that's pretty normal. In 5 games, he had a sack and a half. He had 2 starts. So he's gone from 2 starts to only 17 snaps. What I don't know is, did he get the starts because somebody else was hurt? I'm going to assume the obvious when you sign somebody on September 5th, and I don't know the particulars of the Eagles. One of 2 things happened. They signed him because somebody got hurt versus signing him just to bring him to start right away without somebody getting hurt, because that's not the norm on a team that could win. Anyway, good dude. Congratulations. Mazel tov. I'm going to look it up in the break. We're going to take a break, and I wonder where 70 sacks sits in the history of the NFL. If he's a top 100 guy. I'm going to guess yes, and I don't know. That's a guess. I'm going to look at AI. Are you already doing it, Sean?
Well, I'm typing it now. Just because I'm curious now, too.
I'm going to try to run him down. I'd love to have him on the show. It's just a really good dude. Had a nice smile on his face all the time. Really, a leader, tough. Played hard. You know, Sean, I don't often get shocked. Seriously, this one really, shocked might be a little too strong. This one really, really surprised me at this point in time. Because Philly's got a shot at repeating. Well, I have no idea, but they have a shot. They absolutely unequivocally had a shot. And why would you leave now when you're on a team where you have a shot? Honestly, it's a little baffling. Terry Page. I hit naturalhealingandpainrelief.com. Naturalhealingandpainrelief.com. And you can get an appointment. She's got some openings for phone calls. You can tell her your needs. You can have a 10-minute conversation free, of course, and then make a decision to see her or not. I'm telling you, you hear me talk about it every day. She's been spectacular for me, a healer, and her knowledge is off the charts about the body and what she can do. Terry Page in Butler, Kentucky today and tomorrow. Rest of the week here in Lexington, 859-373-0578. 859-373-0578. You got it, Sean, or we'll do it after the break?
No, he's officially number 106. Tied with Preston Smith and Yannick Ngakoue. I don't know how to pronounce that one.
I'm going to have to look at the name. I know who you mean, but I'm not. It's been a while. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I used to know how to pronounce his name, and Sean, I'll probably mess it up. Okay, he's 106th in the history of the NFL.
Yeah, one behind Ndamukong Suh and Cornelius Bennett. So that's pretty high company there.
Ooh, really?
Mm-hmm. Just ahead of Fletcher Cox.
Really? That's impressive. Look, he's not going to the NFL Hall of Fame. You know, he won't get any votes. But did he have a great career? The answer is YES. YES, 70 sacks, and played hard, and could stop the run. Good for you. Good for you. I'm just curious, that's all. Fun talking to Dr. John Wong, fun talking to Jim Master. We have a lot of guests lined up this week, including, how about this, Ryan Howard. Excited about talking to her on Friday. Superstar Kentucky, and what a career she's having in WNBA. She's the franchise in Atlanta, so looking forward to that and so many other things. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
The Alan Cutler Show on ESPN 92.5 and 1300 AM and on the ESPN Lexington app. Presented by Republic Bank.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no-filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313. Hi, this is Alan Cutler. The Quantrill Auto Group has a great deal for this month. Subaru. The Outback is special, so check this out. 0%. That's right, 0% interest for 36 months. And if you want to spread it out to 72 months, 1.9%. What a deal. 0% interest for 36 months. Don't forget, the Quattro family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Subaru, and they promise you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
I'm Kathy Binkaman. Over the holiday, there was an attempted fraud attack. My personal banker, Mary Rose, and I networked together, and the first thing that I thought of was I have to text her. And it was just within the next few minutes, there was an entire team that came together collectively. And that's just not the type of service that you typically get from your bank.
That's Kathy's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
Boo! Brett, what are you doing? I'm getting ready for Halloween. Well, it looks like your costume's ready, but what about your candy?
Well, you know, Dad and Uncle Rick, at Clark's Pep and Shop, we have some spooky deals. All month long, you can pick up 5-hour energy shots, 2 for $4.99, or Rolade sticks, buy one, get one free.
No tricks, all treats this October. Clark's Pep and Shop, return, refresh, refuel.
What are you doing out there? Come on!
I saw you at the game the other night. Yeah, you. Up there getting mad, acting like we're all out there making $1 million a game. Well, let me be real with you. This isn't the pros. It's school sports, and it's a game, our game. So please, let us play.
School sports fans, remember, when you cheer for your team, make noise for the right reasons. This message presented by the NFHS and the NIAAA.
And all student athletes in Kentucky.
Hey Lexington, Friday, October 17th, Lexington Sporting Club men's team takes the field in the regular season home finale against Sacramento Republic. First 2,000 fans get a free Lexington Sporting Club beanie. Kickoff is at 6 p.m. Get tickets now at lexsporting.com. Vamos, Lexington!
ESPN 92.5 and 1300, live and local, weekdays from 10 to 3. Get the ESPN Lexington app. Just search ESPN Sports Lexington in your app store. Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
Oh, it's always moving and emotional when you come back to Rupp Arena, and not so much to Rupp Arena, but the fans and how important they are to just the culture and the love affair that they have with their Wildcats. And so Big Blue Nation makes you feel so warm, so welcome. So it makes me want to move back here.
Would you ever move back here?
Oh, yeah. Well, this is the longest I lived anywhere. I was just telling some of my former players, this was, Coach, where are you living? I'm living in High Point, but the 12 years I spent here were 12 of the best years I ever had. You know? So we might do that.
Yeah, I like it. Well, you talked about the fans. They chanted your name there for a minute. It looked like you were telling them to chant Mark instead. What did it mean for you to hear them chant your name?
Well, it's just good. We had a pretty good time here and a pretty good run, and it was because of all the young athletes that we had the great fortune to coach. Again, just being a part of the culture, as I mentioned before, and basketball is a way of life. There's no other place in America, no other basketball program that compares to Kentucky basketball. So you're always excited to be coming here, and I have a lot of friends still, thank God, still have some friends here. And no family, but I'd love to see Saul, and he played for me here. I was talking to Coach Brooks, so impressed with him. I'm so impressed with Mark Pope. They all have the pedigree and they all have the characteristics of being championship coaches. So I'm wishing them the best, and I'd love to witness it, firsthand.
That's really good stuff from Tubby. By the way, that was conducted by Maggie Davis, Sportscaster of the Year, who does a wonderful job for BBN. And she got on the floor and talked to Tubby. And I've been here for a couple of years. Tubby has been thinking about moving back here. He still has a lot of friends here. People love Tubby. They just love Tubby. And that's interesting because I had heard that the best times that he had in his life was the 12 years he lived here. I'm pretty sure he said that when he's in the studio with me, too. Pretty sure. But what a lovely man. And the fact that he says that Mark Pope and Kenny Brooks have the championship caliber coach in them, that's really cool. That's really cool. I'd love to see Tubby at every game. He'd be signing autographs all the time. I mean, all the time. And it's remarkable the recruiting that Kenny Brooks is doing. It's remarkable what Mark Pope is doing. And I think this is going to be a great year for basketball. Understand? I didn't say men's basketball. I didn't say women's basketball, but basketball. And I went to a whole bunch of women's games last year, and I'm going to go to a whole bunch this year. Matter of fact, as soon as the SEC happened, when I could go, I think I went to every single game. I think. Maybe I missed one where I could have gone and didn't. but either family or something else. And I enjoyed the heck out of it. And I said it many times during the year, how much I enjoyed the heck out of it. I want to play this clip, and then we might play a longer clip tomorrow. This is from Liam Cohn. And Sean, give me a thumbs up. And there's something about him, how he handles himself with his ability to communicate. Now, this clip we'll play today is dealing with the media after the game, where Jacksonville has been kind of a surprise team, but they lost to the Seahawks 20-12 yesterday. And I have a clip that we'll probably play tomorrow, is how he addressed the team. And I really liked it. As a matter of fact, one of the things that surprises me, that some of these NFL coaches are just mediocre when they address the team. And I'm not saying all of a sudden you got to be Nuke Rockne and fire it up and this and that and the other. You got to pick your spots. But some of these guys who are longtime NFL coaches, I think, are really not that good when it comes to communicating to the team. And if you're Belichick and you have Brady, yeah, you don't have to be. And I get that. But it does say something when you can command a room. And it's more important for Liam Cohn than it is Belichick, because Belichick obviously had won so much. And now he's not commanding any room, but I don't want to go off on that tangent, neither here nor there. So listen to Liam Cohn and listen to who he blames for losing as they lost yesterday to the Seahawks. Here it is.
Yeah, it's on me. It's an undisciplined operation at the moment, and it's on me, and it's got to get fixed. It's a great opportunity this week to get it fixed, right? We're going on the road. We're flying to another country. Being together as a group, look ourselves in the mirror and try to figure out, from an operation and habit standpoint, what is standing in our way, because right now it's us.
And that's what he told the team. Stronger, by the way. And the guys were nodding their heads, which, you expect to do, but I think they bought it. And I'm looking at the guys on the team, and I think he got his messages across. One of the things he told the team is, look, you guys played hard. I expected that. I know you played hard, but we didn't play as smart as we need to play. And so he basically talked about everything that you do, you got to do it with a purpose. Like all coaches kind of say that kind of thing. And guys were nodding their head. I think he's got really good command of the locker room. I do. And I think he might end up being a better head coach than he was an offensive coordinator here. And the first time here, he was a wonderful offensive coordinator. Whatever that certain something is, I think he has. So that's pretty good. Ken Palm put out the top 25 head coaches that are active. And are some of these names surprising me? Shocking, actually. Okay, shocking. So he's got Kelvin. I'm not going to go through every one of them, but I want to pick out just a few. He's got Kelvin Sampson number one, and I have no problem with that. And I've been talking about Kelvin Sampson for a number of years about how good he is. He's one of the great people persons. He had a great line. He goes, I will live my life through these kids, but these kids, I don't want them to live their life through me, which he's basically saying, I'm here to take care of the kids as people. And he's got a great staff, and they're all great people persons. He really has as good of a staff as there is in the country. So I have no problem with him being number one. Last week, I talked about Randy Bennett, oddly enough, and how he's a great coach and how there are great coaches in all kinds of places that, you might not know because you don't follow it. And I was talking about, Sean, how he lives on a boat. And here's a guy that has turned down all kinds of job offers at this point in time. He's not going anywhere, and especially up on the West Coast. And he loves where he lives. He lives on a boat. I don't know if he still does, but he has carved out a great life, and he's gotten all these players from, in the New Zealand area, and what they do every practice, the first 15 minutes, they shoot threes every single day. And I love watching them play because it's one of the best offenses, the way they share the ball and pass the ball. This kind of surprised me. I know we got a bunch of people listening in Louisville, Nashville, Indianapolis, all kinds of places. Thank you. This is not a negative comment to Pat Kelsey. I think Pat Kelsey's done a great job at Louisville. I think Pope has done a great job at Louisville. Seriously. But they got him as the number 4 coach. What? Again, if you're a Louisville fan and you think I'm doing this because the Kentucky-Louisville thing, you have no idea who the hell I am. Seriously. You have no idea. Okay? It has nothing to do with it. They got Patino 5. How the hell is Pat Kelsey rated in front of Patino? Now, if it's an old guy living on your reputation, I get it. I get it. It makes no sense at all. He's got Hurley 6. He's got Kyle Smith 7th. Kyle Smith is a good coach. He's not 7th. He's got Mark Few 8th, Chris Beard 9th, Steve Forbes, Kentucky boy, with his ties here 10th. That doesn't make any sense. Dusty May, who's doing a hell of a job at Michigan, and he's done a great job since he's become a head coach. 12th? 12th? Shaka Smart 14? Ahead of Rick Barnes 15? And I got to tell you, Kentucky plays Purdue, Matt Painter would be much higher in my book. Much higher. He's 16. He's 16. Pope is 18. Will Wade 19? Really? How is Bill Self only 20? It's baffling. Leon Rice, Boise State. I have mentioned a couple times through the years, I think he's a hell of a coach. And he's turned down offers to leave and stuff like that. And by the way, that's the Gonzaga pipeline. He was an assistant there for a long time. And in Boise, he's done a hell of a job. I don't know if I put him 21, but he's done a hell of a job. Tommy Amaker, 22? It was kind of a long time before he really became a good coach. Oh, I never pronounced TJ's name right. Iowa State. Otzelberger, I always screw it up, Sean. If you know, please help me out. 24, and I think he's he's done a tremendous job there. Ron Hunter, 23. Ron Hunter's a good coach, 23. And I'm really at a loss for words. I have a tremendous respect for Ken Palm and their numbers and what they do. And I get that Ken Palm with their numbers, Sean, smarter than I am. Okay? But there are certain things to me that are pretty obvious. I'm almost at a loss for words. We're going to switch to baseball because this ticks me off. I have to get it in. I know the season is over. I am so mad at this. Sean, I know you follow baseball. Now, after I do this, I want to see if you agree with me. So they have a thing where they've got revenue, payroll, tax payroll, luxury tax, and payroll/revenue. In other words, when you put it up, how much when you put it all together are you spending? And so no surprise that the Mets are spending 90% of their $444 million. I'm assuming these numbers are right. I don't know how the hell they get these numbers. And let's say, for argument's sake, even if they're not exactly right, but they're really close. Now, the Mets spending 90%, they got Steve Cohen, the richest owner in baseball. Okay, that does not surprise me that he's at 90%. He's losing money. It's tough to lose money in baseball, but he's losing money. And the Dodgers' revenue, it's over $300 million more than the Mets. They are number 2, not in revenue, but number 2. And when Shohei signed the contract, that $700 million contract, Sean, I don't know if you remember the shows they did. I talked about how that contract was basically nothing. Yeah. It really was. It was so smart how they did it because of all the ways that they're making money off Shohei. That contract was cheap. It was brilliant. And first of all, I don't think he wanted to go to the Yankees anyway. And I don't think he wanted to go to the Mets. You know, think about it. If you're from Japan, would you rather be closer to home? The answer is yes. Do I think teams on the West Coast have a tremendous advantage? I think everybody knows this for Japanese players. That doesn't mean a Japanese player won't end up in Boston or New York or Chicago, but there's an advantage. And especially when you have a number of Japanese players on a team and you already feel comfortable. That only amplifies it. So the Dodgers, their revenue is $752 million. And with their payroll/tax, $549, and they're doing 73%. Okay. The Yankees are 11th, but in revenue, $728 million. That's number 2. And I do know this, and Sean, I don't remember the number. They have a bond for the stadium that they have to pay out over 25 years. It's like $70, $80 million or something like that, and that's not included. And Steinbrenner doesn't want to lose money. Okay, so they're saying that it's 49%, but it's really not because you can throw in another $80 million. Even still, the Yankees are making money. Their TV contract is ridiculous. Now, I'm not going to go through all the teams. I'm going down to the Reds. The Cincinnati Reds. They're 21st. Sean, I want you to tell me when I'm done with this how much you agree with me. So the Reds' revenue is $325 million. And think about it. Their radio and TV contracts, it's a fraction of New York, Chicago. Just a fraction. Yeah. Okay, they don't have suites to sell and stuff like that. There's nothing equal in baseball. That's why they need to make it equal. It's interesting that the Reds have $325 million and the Pirates $326 million. Now, listen to this. So the $325 million, they have $139 million with payroll and tax, and they have no luxury tax. Reds luxury tax. Obviously, this is what ticks me off. If these numbers are correct, the Reds are one of the most profitable teams in baseball, and that sucks. They are only spending, and by the way, people have claimed this before. This is not like this thing is breaking news. And I have said this before, but this is, Sean, when you have something like this in front of you, it's a powerful tool, right? Yeah. Okay, so I'm not going to ask you to guess because whatever it is, I would say whatever you're thinking, lower, okay? Of the $325 million that the Reds are 21st in the percentage of what they spend, they're only spending 42%. That really sucks. Now, if these numbers are wrong and somebody comes out with something that's wrong, and I'm going to guess there'll be somebody looking into this, and that's okay. By the way, the Mets luxury tax was $71 million. That's included in this. The Dodgers was $150 million. Okay, $150 million. The Yankees, they paid $52 million. Boston paid $91 million in taxes. And how about, you ready for this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only 7 teams paid a tax. And the Padres were at $10 million. Toronto was at $10 million. And then it goes way up from there. Way up from there. I want to tell you, if I'm a Reds fan, when there's a fan day, somebody needs to ask a question as, are these numbers correct? I guarantee they're going to say they're not. Whether it's close or not, I don't know. And by the way, you got the minor leagues and the coaches and this and that and the other, all that stuff to pay, travel expenses and all that stuff. It's a lot of money paying out from here. I get it. I mean, think about it. You're flying around the country. You're staying in first-class hotels that's deemed really by the players' union. You can't stay in a bad hotel. It's delineated in the contract. But with that, they're only spending 42.6%. Sean, if I grew up a Reds fan, I would be really ticked off right now. Do you agree?
Yeah, that's not enough. Not even close.
Here's the way it is. For example, Philly is 4th. And this surprises me. They're spending 67%. And Middleton, their owner, says it's only about money, and I just want to win the World Series. Okay? And by the way, he's up there, revenue $519 million. Ooh, Titans have fired head coach Brian Callahan. Not a surprise. And actually, I got to be no filter myself. I thought it was a really good hire, and I thought he's done a lousy job how he's dealt with a lot of stuff. He was ready to be a head coach. Maybe he'll get another opportunity, and he didn't handle things well. Neither here nor there. Point is this. If I'm a Reds fan, I'm ticked off. I don't want to hear this crap that they don't have money to get a free agent. Now, the problem is they've had so many free, like Moustakas, the $63 million contract. At that moment, I said it was a dumb blank contract. He was fat and out of shape. If you have a belly in a baseball uniform, your belly is much bigger out of it. Said right away. The Candelaria contract, I think they're paying $15 million this year. Said it was a dumb contract. And so the problem is I don't trust them signing somebody. I really don't. Because their track record really, really stinks. I don't know what's going on in sports talk in Cincinnati. I'm going to hit my friend Andy Furman. But Jimmy, sorry, I'm looking at you, Sean. I'm so used to saying Jimmy.
Yes.
If I'm a Reds fan, I'm ticked. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Really ticked. Okay. Brad Taylor coming up next. I just looked at the clock. Thank you for listening. got a great week lined up, including Ryan Howard on Friday. Brad Taylor coming up next. Matthew and Jimmy at 10. I'll be back at noon. Thank you for listening. Please tell a friend. Sean will have the show up as a podcast. Go to the ESPN Sports Lexington app. Should be there by 2:30 as more and more of you are listening, not live, but on podcast, which I appreciate, and also listening live anywhere in the world. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a great day. Alan Cutler. Thank you, Sean. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
The Alan Cutler.
Okay.
I'm overbooked tomorrow. Hi, this is Alan Cutler at 1300 AM and 92.5 FM, Monday through Friday, 12 to 2. Two of our special guests, Sean Woods. Ooh, he's going to be fiery. And, oh my gosh, I can't read my own handwriting. Hi, this is Alan Cutler at 1300 AM and 92.5 FM, Monday through Friday, 12 to 2, or anywhere in the world on the ESPN Sports Lexington app. Two of the guests, we have three, will be Sean Woods and David Sisk. See you at noon. Hey, can I tell you what I want for a clip?
Yep.
Okay, it's at 108. And tell me if you want me to text this really fast. At 108, where he said, I thought John Wall is your in. You writing this down? Or you want me to text it to you?
No, I'm writing it.
I thought John Wall and your out is bust. It's a little over a minute or around there. Bust is your out. It's the only time he says bust. And here's your caption, just is John Wong with his take on madness.
All right.
Got it?
Yep.
Great. Thanks, dude. Appreciate you.
All right.
Have a good one.